Boys, we got a bleeder in aisle 6, ladies and gentlemen.
Down my pots, I'm drunk and I'm pissed.
For the best the poker world has to offer, subscribe to Poker Go now.
Your super high roller bowl 7 champion, Daniel Negreanu.
Oh yeah!
Wheels are coming off.
That's the craziest hand I've ever seen.
The World Series of Poker, high stakes poker, no gamble, no future, and so much more.
What was that bite?
Sign up at PokerGo.com using promo code CardPlayer to get $20 off the first year of an annual subscription now.
Hi everyone, this is two-time World Poker Tour champion Jonathan Little, and I want to tell you about my training site, PokerCoaching.com. Poker coaching is the place to be if you want to increase your poker skills and learn to crush the games. It's the only place to quickly increase your win rate with active learning, so you can achieve your full poker potential without having to hire an expensive coach. Right now, podcast listeners can score a free membership by visiting pokercoaching.com/cardplayer and get access to top training tools like our interactive hand quizzes, our 7, 14, and 30-day challenges, and a roster of elite coaches such as Matt Affleck, James Romero, Burt Draftganger Stevens, Michael Acevedo, and dozens of others. Again, that's pokercoaching.com/cardplayer to get your free membership right now.
By now, you've heard about Global Poker, one of the fastest growing online card rooms available in the US and Canada today. So what's stopping you from trying it out? Global Poker is a safe and secure social poker site that uses their own patented sweepstakes model. Signing up is easy. You can use Google, Facebook, or just an email address. You can always play for free on Global Poker, but you can also buy gold coins for additional play, which will earn sweeps coins that can be redeemed for real cash to a bank account, Skrill account, or even as a gift card. Get a free 5,000 gold coins when you sign up right now at globalpoker.com.
Poker Stories is an audio series that features casual interviews with some of the game's best players and personalities. Each episode highlights a well-known figure in the poker world and dives deep into their favorite tales, both on and off the feld.
Hello and welcome to Poker Stories, a podcast brought to you by Card Player, the poker authority, and hosted by me, Julio Rodriguez. This is episode number 151, and it features poker pro Jesse Lonis. Jesse is only 28 years old, but has experienced one of the fastest rises up the ranks in recent memory. All of his nearly $6 million in career tournament earnings have come in the last 4 years, and during that time, he has graduated from $200 tournaments to playing high rollers with the best players in the world. In 2021, the New York native made a WPT final table at the Lucky Hearts Poker Open, and then followed that up with a deep run in the WSOP main event, finishing in 25th place overall. The next year, the former construction worker won his first bracelet in the WSOP Online series, taking down a 1K 6 max event, and nearly added a second at the Summer Series in a turbo tournament, while also having a good showing at the WPT World Championship in December. But 2023 has seen Lonis take things to a new level. In January, he finished third in the $25,000 buy-in high roller in South Florida for $260,000, before adding another $370,000 with a win at the PokerStars Caribbean Adventure. Then this summer, he broke through for bracelet number 2 in the prestigious $50,000 buy-in PLO Championship, banking a career best $2.3 million, before adding another deep run in the main event. This was a fun interview that we recorded just before Jesse jumped into a tournament at the Poker Masters a couple weeks ago. We talked about everything from going broke and then coming back, graduating to the high roller circuit, and how his grandma was actually the one who introduced him to online poker. Anyway, that is enough intro. Here is my conversation with Jesse Lonis. I am here with the one and only Jesse Lonis. Jesse, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man.
Yeah,
finally got to do this meetup.
Yeah, you know, we've been playing phone tag a little bit. We've had this scheduled a few times, but you've had great excuses.
Yeah.
First off, congratulations on baby number 2.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Was everything smooth and sailing?
It was smooth. It it was the second time around. I think it's easier. You're more prepared. You're ready. You know what you gotta do. And am I good?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, and yeah, it was quick, nice and easy. We were in and out within a day, so that was good. No complications during the birth or anything, and everything was good with that. So
yeah, as the dad, you just have to find a way to sleep on that really uncomfortable chair, half couch thing.
Yeah, they actually upgraded them now. The hospital I went to has they had like a pull-out sofa kind of thing. So
yeah, it's tough on dad. They need all the comfort he can get.
Exactly.
Well, congratulations to that. We also have to congratulate you, or at least congratulations, I should say, on 3 out of 4 cashes here at the Poker Masters. We are at the Poker Go Studio at the Aria in Las Vegas right now. So, probably some mixed feelings on that.
Yeah. So it was 3. I think it was 5 events actually. I think yesterday was the 5th event. I'm pretty sure I cashed 3 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they were. It was. I've made it deep in 2 9th places and 12th, so it's a little bittersweet. It's you're close to the big money, but just be showing up and knowing that I'm getting myself to the point every day pretty much is good for my confidence in game and everything. I'm feeling good playing some of my best poker. So
do you ever take those close calls and add them all up and be like, pretend you finished like 3rd or something? I think you cashed for about 100,000 between the 3 tournaments. So
yeah, I cashed for 100.
It's kind of like you finished 3rd.
Yeah, I'm in for like 70 or 80, so I'm up a little bit. Feels good. Just to play in here and be up at all. It's like you feel like you're winning because they treat you good here. You get the best food, you get the best treatment, best staff. And every time you play, you're playing against the best players in the world, so you're learning. You're getting all that free equity and all the things you're seeing and learning every single time. So
yeah,
even when you're losing, you're still winning in a way.
Even a misfired bullet is still valuable.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, let's find out about your journey from. It wasn't that long ago. The low stakes streaks all the way up here to the biggest stage in poker, the Poker Go Studio.
Yeah.
New York, huh?
Yeah.
Born and raised.
Yep, upstate New York. From a little town called Little Falls. It's right near Utica. Is like the bigger city near us, I guess. Kind of Syracuse is right there too. Small town I grew up in. Things kind of stay the same there. It's like it's pretty crazy because there it's still like you go and get a meal out. It's like $6 for like a meal out. Where like here you're gonna pay $25 for it, and your money goes far. And there it's like
inflation proof.
Yeah, it's it really is. It's like you step in a time machine. When I go home, it's like you still get a beer at the bar for like $1.50. Like it's pretty nuts. It's and there it's just they like to hear that I won a tournament for $2 million. It's kind of mind blowing for my friends.
Yeah,
and
you got to
stuff.
be a king or something.
Yeah, it's a small
hometown
area.
legend, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like Longfellow Deeds. If you ever watch Mr. Deeds, when Longfellow goes home and he's rich or whatever, it kind of feels like that. You go home and there's like, damn, you made it, man.
What was the path before poker there? You were a construction worker, right?
Yeah, well, so I always played a little bit growing up here and there, but in high school I was always worried about sports. I played football, basketball, and baseball. I thought when you're young, you think you're going to go into NFL or NBA,
Yeah. Or at least that's the best way out, right?
Yeah, that's the best way out, exactly.
I should tell the audience here, you're 28?
I turned 28 in 2 weeks, or
Happy
September
birthday.
30th, or
Happy birthday.
whatever. I don't know the day.
But yeah, so, way too young for the moneymaker boom.
No, exactly. When I started playing, I used to watch all the main events on ESPN and everything, and always loved poker. My grandmother, she played, and she raised me when I was a little kid, so it was always ingrained in me, kind of like.
What was the first game?
First game I played?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
First introduction to poker.
First ever time I played. So I'm gonna guess it was either my grandmother or my uncle. I can't remember. I knew right around 10 or 11 years old. I know my grandma played online and my uncle would play online too and stuff. But
wait, your grandma played online?
Yeah, she was.
So this wasn't like the senior center game. This was.
No, she used to play. So my grandma's job, she was like ahead of the curve. She used to sell things online on eBay, she would buy antiques and sell them on eBay. So she was always on the internet. And her other favorite thing to do was play like when Full Tilt. I'm pretty sure Full Tilt Poker was just coming out back then. I'm guessing I was like 10 or 11. So I'm like 17, 18 years ago. I don't know exactly when it came out, but yeah, she would play, I think, probably like 5 cent, 10 cent, you know, just fun games because she just loved the game. And she would go to the bathroom, and older ladies, they tend to take longer bathroom breaks and everything. So she would have me play while she was in the bathroom, you know. And I used to sit behind her for hours and just watch anyway because it was like a video game for me. It was just fun to see. And
did it make you like a gambler-y child? Because that's the thing I've noticed when I talk to people who've been exposed to gambling early is that, you know, they tend to view risk differently. Yeah,
I mean, for me, after she passed away, she was the only one that kind of had like her shit together, I guess, in my family at the time. So like after she passed away, it was kind of like a struggle, kind of just like poor. So I was always trying to, you know, my allowance for a week was like, it wasn't even allowance, but I'd get like $5 or $10 for like the whole week to play with, you know what I mean? So I used to go to this little kids like club thing that we had and play pool for like $1, $2 a game, and you know, I'd run it up to like $20-$30 for the week and have my lunch money and everything from just playing pool. So I mean, I was always like ready to gamble. And then video games like 2K, the basketball game, I probably had a 410 record lifetime against like people and betting money and stuff. So, you know, $5-$10 a game or whatever. But I was always, that's how it kind of started. And then obviously once I got to start playing poker for real,
you knew how to hustle.
Yeah. I was always had the hustler's mentality. I knew that I had to figure it out on my own.
So how did you find construction? Because you did that young, right?
Yeah. So right out of high school, I was 17, and like I said, I kind of didn't have any money to go to college with. Like my dad was just trying to survive himself, kind of, and so I knew I was gonna probably just go straight to work out of high school. I actually got offers to play D2 college for football. Could have played basketball at a couple D3 schools and everything right out of high school.
But you're a big guy.
Yeah. I was, and I actually graduated really young. I was like the youngest kid in my class. I was 17 when I graduated. Most were like 18, and I just turned 17. And I knew I just kind of wanted to start making money. So my sister lived in New York City at the time, and she's still with an Irish guy, and his brother owned a construction company down there in the Bronx, and it was just a good kind of first step for me. And I always liked New York City too. I would go down there and visit her, and just I just liked to.
It beats flipping burgers.
Yeah, exactly. Well, not really, honestly. So,
not really.
No, the construction I was doing, I was a laborer. Like it was 6 days a week. I'd work sometimes 16-hour days, like from just crazy things, like just working out in the middle. When you're out in the middle of the winter, nailing, working on a roof in New York City in the Bronx, it's not, I was getting frostbite on my fingers and stuff, like couldn't even, it wasn't fun.
That answers one of my questions here, which is what's the worst job you had before poker?
Oh, and no, I liked it, but it was kind of like a dog in a cage. I was sitting there making $15 an hour when all my mind was thinking was like, I know you need to be doing something different and more, So I was playing basketball every single day when I lived in the Bronx, and within like a year or two, I was probably out of high school. I mean, I was one of the best players on my team already, like growing, but like the college that recruited me and stuff, I called the coach and was like, man, I've been playing basketball here every day. I'm 5 times better than I was when I was in high school. And that extra year of growth, I turned into a man in that year and was playing some of the most physical games in New York City and the Bronx. It was, some good competition. You'd have 70 people at the basketball court. If you lost one game, you weren't getting on the rest of the day. And on the sideline, it was, it was in a rough neighborhood. It was straight. You had half the people had guns on them, It was the sidelines was people just smoking blunts, a lot of Jamaican dudes just like cheering for it was, betting money on the games and everything. And I remember when I first came there, I would never get picked. Like by the time after like 5 months, I was always picked on the first game. They're like, I want the white boy. Like, I always.
What was your skill set?
So I had to adapt. Like growing up in upstate New York, I was like a bigger kid, so I played like a 3, like down low, would dominate, rebound really good. When I moved to the city, I got better at just skill part of the game. I ended up really having to rely on shooting more because everybody there, the big guys were 6'9".
Yeah,
6'8".
no longer the big guy.
No, they were monsters, and so I was like. But the thing was, I was always still tough. I was always rebounding with them still, never boxed out anybody. I didn't care. And but it was more a skill game. I was a knockdown shooter, and at that time I could catch oops off. I could dunk off alley oops and stuff. I was just like I was at the top of my game. So it was just
so
I hustled too. I always had the mentality like that. I didn't care who you were. Like I was gonna lock you up and stuff. So they just loved me because I was always tough and on defense and everything, and just played my role always.
So what was the plan with that? Did you go back to school, right?
Yeah. So I told him that, and he right away said, "Get up here. You got a spot on the team." And
where was this?
This was in upstate New York, where I'm from, Herkimer Community College, and I went back up and I was practicing with the team, and like I realized like I was dominating these guys. Like I was playing pretty good. Just felt I knew I would start during the season, and so I was at school and ended up getting into some trouble because I ended up getting into a fight where these two kids just whatever happened. I ended up getting in a fight at the school and got kicked out because. It was all on camera and stuff, and excessive damage or whatever they said at the time. They just couldn't have me continue, which was kind of good in a way because I was going to Turning Stone Casino at the time, and everyone from the East Coast knows Turning Stone. I was pretty much playing every day anyway and was skipping some classes, and I could kind of tell that I was leaning towards poker more and like not caring about much at school. That's when I started realizing, hey, I think I have like a skill in this game. I think I could do something. And so
it was just Turning Stone cash games at the time, or
yeah, so it was
because you could play on under 21 there, right?
Yep, 18 is when you can start at Turning Stone, and it was mainly just 2-5 no limit cash and everything. And that at that time in my life, I would go up I'd go up with a roll. I'd end up but I probably went broke 15, 20 times within like a year easily, and I picked up like probably a lot that year, like 7 different jobs where I would work it for like 2 weeks. I'd get that first check, and I'd go right to the casino. I'd run it up to like 700. I'd run back up to 6K. I'd say, all right, I'm quitting, thinking I'm playing poker again. Then boom, I would take a shot, be broke again, find another job at Walmart distribution center or wherever, a restaurant, whatever I could do, and just kept doing that until finally I got a hold of things a little better bankroll management and everything, and then Rivers Casino in Schenectady opened up, and they started having way bigger. So at Turning Stone at the time, they had a 2-5 no limit game, and the max buy-in was $500. So, and the guys I was playing against were a lot of guys that would sit there every single day, and the area is not like a really financially good area. It's kind of like everyone's kind of struggling. So
a rock garden.
Yeah, so so I'm there playing like a young crazy kid because I never had control. That's just how I always played. It's just aggressive, and in that game, I completely always got buried. It's probably still to this day the only poker game I really lost money in was that 2-5 in Turning Stone.
Can't beat 8 nits.
No, it was just, they sat there with their paper every day. These old guys, they'd get there at 9 a.m. every day, and they would wait for me to come, pretty much. And, I'd be the guy blasting away. And the good thing was when Schenectady opened, their 2-5 was a 1,500 max. And now it was, more of that was the first time I started playing a poker game where I was like, wow, these people don't care about money. Like, I was like, holy crap. You know, I seen people throwing in.
Game selection matters, listeners.
Yeah, it does. It really does. And I was able to start building up win after win after win, and I built up a nice roll, built up my roll to I remember 60K or something, and was taking a few shots, bigger games and whatever. And at the time, I had a friend, Dominican friend named Gilberto, his name is, in Tavares, and he was crushing tournaments on the East Coast, and there wasn't many tournaments, but every time he went to a stop, this guy would win. He'd get first, and I kind of tailed along with him because I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I'd go to the cage, he'd be pulling out 35K every time off $400, $600, and I'm like, what the hell is that's more? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like this, so I started
a lot of cash sessions.
Yeah, exactly. So I started traveling with him, and I remember the first stop I went to was Borgata, and they had their $400 huge field tournament there. And I played a couple tournaments before at Turning Stone, but just 100K guarantees or whatever. And this one was a $400 million or whatever it was, one of the huge fields. And I just remember the first time going into the tournament area, it was just a straight jungle. And you hear the chips roaring and everything, and you're just like, wow, what am I doing? And
especially at Borgata, where it's massive room.
Yeah, so I remember playing that tournament, and it started with 3,000, 4,000 people, and before I knew it, there's 300 people left. I'm still in, and I'm grinding, and I'm looking around. I got a big stack compared to a lot of people, and I'm like, wow, this is unreal. This is my favorite. It's people explain it, it's like a shot of drugs. It's like a needle in your arm. When you go deep in a tournament like that and have that rush, there's nothing like it. You're sitting there I could win this, and it's 2 years of working a job, for $400 and some time. So once I made that deep run, I still remember the hand I busted in that tournament. It's funny because those first ones hurt. Now I can bust a 50,000 buy-in and not even remember the hand or whatever. But I remember I was deep in that tournament. I had 10-9 suited, and I defended big blind that time. I'm nervous as hell, and the guy I'm going against has the second most chips at my table, and I'm chip leader at my table, but not by much. And I end up getting it in. The flop comes Jack 8 blank, and check, guy bets big. I call, I turn to nuts. I check again, he bets big, and I check jam all in. And I remember the guy goes in the tank forever, and he's like, well, I'm not ahead. And he calls me off, and all he had was a flush draw. And I would have been first in chips with 200 people left in my first big tournament. He just had a flush draw with one card to come. Boom, that river came it. And I remember just being so devastated. I was just literally you just got shot.
But then you got to experience both sides of it, the highs of being deep and
yeah. And so after that,
lows of variance.
Yep. And as soon as that happened, though, I knew right away that I was going to be a tournament player. I said, I'm going to do whatever I can to move out west, because I knew that the East Coast they don't have enough volume to be a tournament grinder, really. So that was my next step, was to figure out where I'm going out west. And I actually had some experience going out west. My buddy lived in Oregon, Southern Oregon, and I went out and visited him before, and I fell in love with the place there. It's like heaven on earth up there, and it's wine country. It's just beautiful. It's, I don't know, it's hard to beat. And so I was like I said, I built up 60K for a roll, and I knew that I didn't want to move straight to Vegas, because I was scared that I would go broke right away, because I traveled out to Vegas before. And I remember, that's a funny story, actually. I'll tell you that story. First time I went to Vegas. But yeah, so I decided to move to Oregon and settle there, and then
dip your toes into professional waters.
Yeah, exactly, and just be able to still have a calm lifestyle in Oregon, and then travel for a couple days and know I could go home and everything. And yeah, the first time I went to Vegas, I was I can't even remember. I think I must have just turned 21. Yeah, I think I just turned 21, probably within a couple weeks. And I went out. I had 6,000 to my name when I went out, and I planned on going for 6 days. I had my room booked. I think I stayed at the Circus, whatever the cheapest hotel was, obviously. And I remember going there, and I'm walking on the strip, and I got my $6,000. I'm like, I'm about to take this city over. They have no idea, you know? And I go to, like, Planet Hollywood because I looked at cash game list, and I'm like, yeah, all right, they got a 5-10 game there. That sounds good. And I go there, and the buy-in was $2,500. And it was the max, and I'm like, all right. And everyone's at the table sitting pretty deep, and I'm like, all right, I'm not going to play scared, you know? I sit down with the $2,500, end up getting aces all in pre, get cracked by like queens or something, whatever happened, and I'm like, all right, well, might as well buy in again. I bought in for another $2,500. This is in the first like 2 hours that I'm in Vegas, and and whatever happened, within 20 minutes that $2,500 was gone too. And now I got 1,000 left to my name, and I'm sweating. I walk away, I'm probably seeing double, like just knowing that, like, what the hell, but still optimistic. I'm like, all right, well, we're just gonna have to go play some 1-2, grind it back up. I go to like Bally's or something. I remember their little 1-2 game. I'm sitting in there battling with this old lady, and she's just like beating me in every hand. And I remember I get my last 200 in or whatever, and I'm sure I had the best hand. End up getting sucked out on for my last 200 to the point where I literally had $0 on me. And I still had 5 more days in Vegas. Oh my God. It was only my first few hours in Vegas.
Oh, my God.
And I had $0. And like I said, my family, I had no one I could call besides my sister. She was the only, she already graduated college, was living in New York City, and she was a cytogenetic biologist. So she was the only one that had her shit together, really. So I remember calling her up like, hey, I need you to send me some money for food because I got no money to eat. And she wasn't, at the time, she was still in college debt and everything, and she didn't have much money either, so it's not like she was rich or anything. But she sent me, I remember, probably like $100 or $200. And I remember for the next 6 days, I literally ate McDonald's like 4 out of the 6 days, maybe got like one meal over $20, and just sat in my room and just wondered what the hell was going on. And like,
God.
Yeah, and I didn't even have, at the time, I didn't have enough money to buy a flight home sooner. You know, I had my flight home. That's when I had to go home.
You had to go.
Yeah, so I sat in that room, watched poker videos, I'm sure, and just indulged. But that's what it builds character. That's what, I mean,
for sure.
A lot of these guys in the game, they come up quick, and they don't have any of those like they didn't go through the hardship, and that's what, honestly, I think.
Yeah, I went a free roll, and then I turned that into
exactly.
Whatever. So.
Or they just have, a lot of family money and just don't have to worry about that, really. But I think that nowadays that gives me an extra edge, that I have that grittiness, and I know that feeling, and that, it's like I've been hungry before, so it's like I don't ever want to go back there, so it's more determination always just to play my best.
Yeah, well, it seems like you talked about coming up fast, right?
Yeah.
It seems like we've been calling you the best up-and-comer for the last 3 years now.
Yeah.
It seems like every year you take the next jump up, right?
It happened quick, and I always knew that I was going to try to progress and, always play bigger and bigger. I didn't think I can't say I didn't think, because I've always been confident, humble but confident. Just even when I was first, I used to just watch people on TV. I don't know. I used to always tell my friends, like, I'm going to be the best player in the world one day, and they would all laugh and think I'm kidding, but in my heart, I truly believe it. It's like.
But that's a common trait, right? For like all the top players kind of have that on.
Yeah,
chip on their shoulder,
you have to. If you want to compete with the best, you can't look at them like, oh, this guy's the best. You got to say, I'll destroy this guy. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Steven Chidwick sitting there. I don't care if it's Daniel Negreanu. Obviously I have the utmost respect for their games and know they're some of the greatest players ever, but in that moment when I'm playing them, they're just another person to me. I don't care. It's poker. It's you almost have to look at everybody at the same level as you, and it's like you got to throw the respect for after. It's like when you're battling, it's like just you're in there.
You're looking for the cracks.
Yep.
Well, in 2021 January, you final table the Lucky Hearts Poker Open in Florida, almost $250,000. How's that change your life?
That was so at the time I was getting pretty beat up. I moved out to Oregon. That cost me a good amount of money. That was my that was my first travel spot that I went to. Besides, I traveled and played like a few tournaments in Oregon. I remember I went to the Wynn and played a few tournaments and like went deep and started getting the gears rolling. And then COVID happened, and that crazy thing is that it's been that quick. Yeah, the COVID kind of took a year away from my playing. I've been playing for like 3 or 4 years, but COVID took a year of it away, and but it was good because I was in the motion. I knew what I started realizing what I had to do to become
You had
better.
momentum
And it was now I could play some online poker, and I was playing tournaments online, and wasn't really the greatest online, but I was learning and just was in the lab the whole time, not studying or anything, just putting in volume online. Even if it was micro stakes, whatever I was doing, I was playing every single day. And in Oregon, there was still some private clubs that you could play at houses and stuff, so I still got the live volume in. And when I came back, I felt like I was already playing, and I could tell it was people's first time playing. People were like uncomfortable just doing, and I was picking up on so many live things. Just always been a field player anyway, and was just confident. I was 22, or 23, whatever it was. Just you're just always confident at that age, no matter what. And
real quick, let's talk about that. What you just said, that you've always been a field player.
Yeah.
That's a little probably surprising for some people who might see your results and just assume this guy's another GTO wizard. You know, he's in the lab every day.
Yeah,
he's memorizing charts and.
No, so it's true. I've never sat down and said, all right, I'm going to sit here and study today. I've never done that in my life, not once. Never have studied. I have, I have a lot of friends that study every single day, who I talk to every day. So in a way, that's I'm still retaining that.
You're absorbing it.
Yeah, of course. And I've seen I've seen graphs, I've seen all the jams, charts, and I've had people test me on them and stuff, and I'm usually within a pip or two of like the correct answer or whatever. I understand them all and stuff. It's just I don't think it's good. You don't want to be, if thousands of people are all playing the same way, how could that be an advantage?
Right.
It's like everyone playing a video game, they're all doing the same thing, where I'm doing stuff completely different, so they just don't know how to react to it.
They're theoretically unexploitable, but at the same time, they're not exploiting other people to the biggest that they can.
Yeah, and it's more for me. It's like I can base their range off knowing that they're probably trying to play perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm not. Some days I'm going to play tighter than other days. Other days I'm going to play like a wild man. But you're not going to be able to put me on a hand, which is, that's the key to this game, is to be unreadable in a way, right?
Well, your rise to the top of the last 3 years is kind of proof that you can do it both ways, right? You look at who's number one in the all-time earnings list. It's Bryn Kenny.
Yep.
Bryn is, very much a field player.
Yeah.
Daniel even said when Daniel went to GTO, he said he had to come back a little bit and incorporate some of the old school stuff back into his game.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah, and even a lot of these guys that are coaches, like a lot of them are theoretically sound and stuff, but like Chance Gorneth and Foxen, they don't sit there and play how they're supposed to. They do what they feel like doing. At the end of the day, they're coaching and they understand that side of the game perfect, but they're gonna sit there and play exploit more than they're gonna play GTO or anything. Yeah. And I think at the highest level, most of these players understand that you have to mix it up. You can't just sit there and play your charts,
Yeah. Okay, well, let's talk about some of these scores coming in. Also that same year.
So the 400 that you were talking, or the 250K score in the Open Hearts, that was the first tournament. At the time, I remember I went down to Florida, and I had like 6 or 7K to my name. Again, I kind of like went busto, and I wasn't going to play the main event. I planned on just playing like the 1Ks, the 400s or whatever, and I played a satellite for the main, a 400 Saturday, and I satellited in off the 400. And I wasn't backed. No one knew me at the time, so no one was going to back me. This is all my own money.
It's the best time to not be backed.
Yeah, of course. And so I satellited in for the 400, and then the rest was history. I'm final table and make $250,000, and that was all mine. And like now it was just kind of like, I just remember after winning that, like calling my parent and my dad and just like, and for them, I don't, not many have held like 20, 30 grand. They've never even seen it. So just to like have $250K to my name was like unbelievable. And I felt like I made it, but little do you know that poker's expensive too. So you got $250,000. I was smart though. I was smart. I end up buying a house and everything. And that was the first thing I did when I had my big score was buy a house, and that was the smartest thing I did. And then the rest of it I ended up losing.
You were with your wife at that time, right?
Yeah, we've been together 8 years. Since she's been with me through it all, so she's seen the whole ride.
She's seen the 1-2 days.
She's seen me waking up and going to those jobs for 2 weeks and quitting them. And at the time I was living with her. My broke because I was living with her and her mom at her mom's house in New York and stuff. Living rent free, obviously, and this, and I appreciate them for that. Obviously.
Let me crack through these results real quick.
Yep.
2021, you obviously $250,000 in Florida. You also won an event at Venetian. You finished third at the Wynn that summer, and the big one, obviously. You go deep in the main event, finish 25th for another $250,000.
Yep.
What was that like, going deep in the main?
So that was so it all kind of led up to it. The bankroll story was, I obviously hit that big $250,000 in lick, and then I think I won something maybe right before that, before the summer was about to start. I can't remember exactly, but
yeah, there was a PLO deep stack in June for $80K.
So I did some, yeah, that's what it was. So I don't recommend this, and I did some degen things. So I end up, whatever happened, I remember I only had like $20K to my name before the World Series was about to start. Even though I had all those big scores, whatever happened.
Up and down, up and down.
Yeah, I always took shots. I think I fired some big cash games where I'm buying in for half my bankroll. You know what I mean? Whatever. I was trying to become a millionaire quick, and I remember I had $20K to my name, and I did a degen thing. I remember I put $10K into the sports book, and ended up, it was the first week at NFL, and I ended up running the $10K up to like $90K and cashed it out and kept $10K in. I ran it up to like another $80K. So I ran $10K up to like $170,000.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, well, this is going to be my bankroll now for the series. Instead of trying to get back like a smart person should, I was like, all right, now I can fire. So
on poker.
On poker. Yeah, and I took all the money out of the sport. Play it. So I remember my very first event of the World Series was a COVID relief one. And it was and I got heads up for a bracelet, my very first event with Osmus. And I was like, oh, this is easy. I'm like, fuck, my first one, I got heads up. I'm about to do this every time. And so I won like $30K right off the bat. And then I ended up playing like a $25K the next day on my own. No backing or anything. Didn't sell any pieces. I was just a nut. And before I knew it, like 4 weeks in, I got like $40K left. And I'm like, geez, what happened? And I remember the main event comes around, and I had like $13K to my name. And I buy into $10K. And I said, all right, I'm not going to sell. I'm just going to play this on my own. I said, I'm just going to. Yeah, so I did. And again, I do not recommend any of these things. These, you have to.
You're answering my future questions about shot taking already.
Yeah, you you have to have a few screws loose and whatever. I grew up poor anyway, so whatever. I've been to square one before. I'll be there again. And yeah, so coming into that main, I kind of had the mentality. I was so locked in, more than I've ever probably been locked in my life. I remember just having my headphones on for 7 days straight, and all I listened to was this same no music. I listened to the same meditation zing for 7 days straight, and it was just and then like a clap, like a crescendo thing.
Yeah.
And for 7 days straight, every second I was at the poker table, I listened to that, and it was just so locked in, like on a different universe, I feel like. And
do you ever crack it out again?
So I use it for very special occasions, and now it's kind of to the point I haven't used it in a while, but after that, anytime I had like a deep run, I would crack it out. It was my Zen juice, I called it, and I actually gave it to a few friends, like the exact link to it. And I always called it my Zen juice. And I remember I gave it to one of my buddies in particular, Jake Farrow, who is, he had success. And the first tournament I give it to him, he's like, he was, whatever, at the time he was like kind of struggling. He's like, dude, can you give me some tips or whatever? And I'm like, hey, man, you just got to, he's got to learn. I said, cards. You know how to play poker. You got to learn how to navigate in these things. It's not like a battle. You got to just try to make it through. And I was like, honestly, this has helped me to really concentrate and focus in. And I sent him the link. He ends up getting heads up for a WPT title, that tournament that I gave it to him. Gets second for like $500,000. Ends up going on.
Are you selling this, by the way?
Huh? Yeah.
Should be selling this.
I know. He ends up going on a streak. Ends up being WPT Player of the Year. And so it worked for him, which I'm glad. But yeah, for the main event though. Sorry, I'll move this over.
So obviously that one saved you.
Yeah, so that was it was an amazing tournament. A lot of growth, and I remember on day 3 of that tournament, I was sitting in between JC Tran and Kenny Tran. And literally my seat was JC to my right and Kenny to my left. And like I remember watching Kenny growing up, obviously making deep runs, and JC's a legend.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here like, well, if I can make it through this table, I could probably make them through them all. And probably played some of my best poker that day, and just knew that like once that table broke and I got through it, I said, all right, I'm going to go to these other tables and dominate, because I just watched these guys how they're playing. And that's what happened pretty much in day 7. Before I knew it, there was like 40 people left, and I was top 2. I think I was chip leader at one point with like 40 people left, and I'm sitting there already counting the 8 million, thinking about what I'm going to do in my island and and everything. And then Corey Aldemir crushed my dreams and took me out 25th and then won it. So that was cool. But
at least he made good use of your chips.
Yeah, and I still bust his balls to this day. Whatever. He lets me. He won the tournament.
See him today.
Yeah, we've played so much since then, but it's just it's a cool. It was just cool. My first one to get that deep was just literally what I dreamed of. Just being in day 7 of the main event, like.
You had a bunch of close calls, and then you won the bracelet online in the next year. What was that like, winning it online versus live?
So it was. I remember it was playing. It was good. I was played good in that one. I remember, but it was like 2 or 3 in the morning when I got done with it, and my girl was sleeping, I remember, and like I just got done and won. I ran into the room like, hey babe, I just won a bracelet, and she's like, shut up, I'm sleeping. So didn't really have a crowd, so that one wasn't really as exciting. The next morning is still exciting when you get all the congrats and everything, and a lot of that is what keeps you going too. People can say what they want, but like getting all the congrats and the love and everything, it definitely helps and makes you want it more and more. So it strives for you to be better and everything. So
closed out the year strong at the win, and then this year, more of the same, right? High rollers are starting to peek into your schedule as well. What was the decision like that to jump up to the high rollers?
So I played my first high roller probably about 2 years ago now, I'd imagine, and playing it, I wasn't, you're not comfortable, and I just knew that like I was still uncomfortable at the stake, so I like kind of knew I wanted to still work my way back and whatever. And then playing in the studio has honestly helped me a lot. When I first started playing these 10Ks, you get a lot of volume in 10Ks and high rollers back to back days and stuff, so you get comfortable real quick at the highest level. So this year, I knew I was ready for it this year. I was, I've just felt more locked in. I'm just not nervous anymore about any spot. Like it's like the money I don't really think of. I just play cards at this point. So,
and with that confidence, you buy into the $50,000 PLO high roller at the series, and you win it for $2.3 million.
Yeah, so that one was actually, it was supposed to be my only day off of the World Series. I wasn't gonna play it. I didn't play it. I told myself I played a few of the 25Ks before. I played three of them. I think there was like a whatever, or 2 or 3 or whatever. But I told myself, I said, if I don't do anything in the bigger 25Ks, and I'm not going to play the 50. I'm going to, you know, it's kind of like I wanted to reward myself if I did. But the 50K was going on, and before I knew it, the thing inflated and had more than any other 50K in the history. And I was down at the bar. I was already drinking, having my day off. I was hanging with my girl, and I texted my backer, who puts me in like the high roller stuff, buy-ins, and I said, man, I'm having FOMO, missing this one. And it was probably the best text I ever sent, because he called me right away, like, what's going on? The thing is with him, he had more confidence in me than I had in myself about it. Like, you know, I said, man, this is a huge. I ended up getting a lot of entries. He said, well, get in there. What are you waiting for? I said, you sure? And he's like, yeah, let's go. And so the confidence that he gave me confidence as soon as I sat down. I'm like, if he believes in me, I can do this, you know. And I remember, like, the first all-in of that tournament I had against Jeremy Osmus. It was a crazy hand, and someone limped under the gun. I remember a guy raised in middle position. I'm on the button with Queen, Jack, Jack, 10 double suited, which in PLO is a pretty good hand. And I remember I re-raised. I don't remember if I potted or whatever. I remember I just raised. I was just trying to take the aggression in the hand and position. And Osmus is in the small blind. Now he repots it. And I remember, and I'm going, well, this is aces every time pretty much. But I have such a beautiful hand. I was getting the right price to see a flop. I call, flop comes, ace, jack, 8, ace, jack, 8. So I flop middle set, and I flop like straight draws too. And he just pots it all in. And now I'm in the tank, like, and it was kind of a nit roll in a way, but it wasn't, because in my head I'm putting him on one combo.
Yeah, he has aces. Yeah.
He has aces, so
and
I'm
if
here.
If he has aces, you're drawing 8 outs.
Yeah, exactly, and I'm just like not getting the best price.
Or
I had a backdoor
outs.
heart draw, I remember, like I had a runner flush draw, and went in the tank, used like all my time extensions, because like I said, it's a 50K buy-in, my first 50K ever, and for me it was like I knew I didn't have a rebuy really. I probably could, but I wasn't going to fire again. So it was pretty much my tournament life. And I end up calling him, and he ends up not having aces. He has, like, something. I wasn't, you know, whatever, ace 10, 9-7 double suited or something
And he
like
just looks
that.
at your hand like, what the hell?
Yeah, I kind of like, no, but he understood.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously told him. And I talked that hand over with multiple pros who are great PLO players. I said, so what's Jeremy have? And they all were like, he didn't have aces. I couldn't believe it, so.
Yeah.
So it was obviously, but after that, I won that hand, and then I knew I had everyone covered, and my aggressive style just took over, and before I knew it, you know, then I had all the confidence, and by the time I bagged like top 5 in chips, I remember, and when I came into day 2, I knew I was going to just apply a lot of pressure, and that's pretty much what I did from that point on. I think I must have knocked out more people in that tournament percentage-wise than anybody has ever probably done in a bracelet event, because I knocked out, I want to say, probably like 26, 27 people out of 200.
Wow.
In the whole, yeah, I knocked out the last 12 people
You
alone.
earned that bracelet.
Yeah, I earned that one, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was a fun one.
We got some rapid-fire questions to close it out if you're ready.
Yep.
Where do you keep the bracelets at?
I have a trophy case. My girl just bought a big one, and it's right in my living room. We got like all my trophies from everything that I've got. A nice trophies case, and there's a few other little items in there too. You
handy around the house? You do your own stuff, or do you avoid it because of your experience in construction?
So honestly, like I said, when I did construction, I was more the laborer. I wasn't too good. The Ecuadorian guys I worked with, these guys were like masters with masonry and everything, like the small detailed work. So that was for them. For me, no, I'm actually like horrible with handyman. I have my girl. For me, it's like I don't want to waste the mental energy when I got to play a tournament. I'm like worrying about fixing something. I said I'll just pay this guy $50, $100 to come do it. Answer is definitely. If my girl watches this and I say yes, she's gonna be like, "You're the biggest liar ever." So no.
Yeah, she's gonna keep you in check.
Yeah.
Do you have any hidden talents?
Pretty good at basketball on the right day when I'm training, when I'm locked in. Hidden talents. Probably fighting. I can fight. I used to get in a lot of fights.
You have a good record in that, huh?
Yeah, pretty good record in that.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how normal are you?
Probably a 2 or a 3.
That's the most honest answer we've gotten. Probably the most accurate answer. For poker
Yeah,
players.
probably a 2 or a 3. And it's because I don't want to be normal. In my life, the people that I remember the most are the people that were the most unique, that just stand out, that are straight characters. So I like to be a character, I like to, I don't care what people think about me. I've never have, and I'm who I am.
Best swap or piece you've ever had of anybody? Are we in the way?
No, I've been carrying this around.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting nervous.
It's all good. Thank you.
Good.
Appreciate
That's
it.
your change. Already bought you in, okay?
Thank you.
Yep.
Look, you're set to go for the next 10K here at Aria.
Yep, ready to go. Oh, the swap question. Okay.
Yeah. Anybody ever come through for you?
So I'm not gonna lie, I've lost a lot of money swapping because I'm usually going deeper than a lot of people.
Yeah.
No, I haven't had any crazy. I haven't won anything crazy off any swaps yet.
What was your largest non-poker wager? So prop bet, pit bet, sports bet.
I bet sports big. I mean, just this week, I probably had $250,000 in bets this week alone. Yeah, I tend to
$250,000 on what? NFL or?
Yeah, I mean, so the last game I made $170K in college football this week, and then I was pressing NFL. I had $50K on the Giants, and they lost that. So that was my.
You can't bet with your heart.
No, I'm not a Giants fan.
Oh, okay.
I'm a Raiders fan.
Okay.
And I did bet my heart on that one this week too, and I lost that one. So
you converted to Raiders, huh?
I've been a Raiders fan my whole life.
Really?
Yeah,
they didn't get you in Buffalo or
my
Jets?
My grandfather was a huge football fan, and from the time I was 4 years old, I sat there and watched Raiders football.
How convenient that they moved here.
My life lined up. That's why I said I'm a diehard Raiders fan. I'm wearing a Raiders shirt right now.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's all blacked out, so I couldn't see.
Yeah, exactly. I'm wearing the Raiders right now.
I should have recognized the face paint too. You came rocking the face paint.
Yeah,
You're in game day mode.
Yep, I'm ready.
Wow. Okay, so
probably $100K was my biggest wager on a sports game. That was my own money.
Do you collect anything? Besides bracelets.
Just money.
Just money.
Yeah, no.
Just stack it up.
And kids. Money and kids. That's
there you
it.
Go.
That's all I'm collecting.
You need one with the other.
Yeah.
Any nicknames growing up? Or now?
Yeah, Jonas. A lot of my friends growing up called me because Jesse Lonis. They always called me Jonas Brothers were popular, so my friends always called me Jonas growing up. And
kids are so clever.
Yeah, and J-Lo because Jesse Lonis.
J-Lo's good.
Yeah,
I like that one. Maybe we can get that one going in poker world.
Yeah.
Who was your celebrity crush growing up?
Celebrity crush growing up. No. I think. And Megan Fox was always pretty bad.
Yeah, well, what age were you when Transformers came out?
Yeah. I think in Wanted, the movie Wanted.
Angelina Jolie.
There you go. She was amazing too. Yeah, I couldn't think of that.
Do you have a celebrity doppelganger? Or did people tell you look like somebody growing up?
Well, in a poker world, when I was young, probably a little skinnier too, everyone used to always ask me if I was Jake Schindler. So, yeah.
Don't want to get this mistaken for him these days.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah, that was, but celebrity-wise.
I could see it maybe with the hair at some points.
Yeah, exactly. It was just, I think it's just probably certain days or whatever. But I don't know about any celebrity really. No, not.
If you could name the entertainment for the Super Bowl halftime show, what would you pick? And you control the audience. You don't have to pick something good.
Could be anything.
Anything.
Well, honestly, I'm a big. I like Creedence Clearwater Revival. So I mean, if they could come back and some of them aren't alive anymore.
Hologram CCR.
Exactly. So that would be amazing. Or honestly, I love I like Jay-Z, Eminem. That they would always kill it. I'm sure. I love Eminem. Mac Miller was my favorite before he passed away, so he's like he would be the dream if anybody really could. He was my favorite growing up.
We'll do half hologram, half alive.
Yeah, those would be the ones.
What are you interested in that most people aren't? What's your weirdest hobby?
What
are those weird videos you watch on YouTube?
I don't even have time for that anymore. Now the only videos is baby videos I'm watching.
Yeah. A lot of Coco Melon.
Honestly, I mean, I don't have as much time anymore, but I love playing video games like Call of Duty and everything. I like to get down and play that with my friends.
A couple more questions and I'll let you go. What's the most embarrassing story that your parents used to tell others about you?
I don't know if it was much of an embarrassing story, but I've definitely had some embarrassing moments with my family. My dad's kind of he's definitely different too. My father, he definitely been in for some spots. My parents actually, one of the most embarrassing moments, I guess, is my parents used to have, or my stepmom did actually. She used to sell birds, so she would have like umbrella cockatoos and cocktails, whatever they were, like these birds or whatever. And my science teacher, whatever, got a hold of my parents one day, and like they did like a whole presentation with all the birds in the school and everything. And I'm just like, this is horrible. You know what I mean? I was a little kid in like 6th or 7th grade.
You don't want mom to come to school and talk about her birds.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a fun one.
Are you superstitious at all?
I don't know if superstitious, but I do believe in karma. I always treat everybody, and I believe that people definitely get what's coming to them a lot, and I just think the most genuine and nice people, and just treating everybody the same and just being loving to everybody unless they give you a reason not to. I think those people have the best success and just are happiest in life.
What is your bold prediction for poker's future?
I think it's going to be bigger than ever, honestly. I mean, with Japan catching heat with everything, and I think just around the world they're realizing it's more of a skill game than ever and that it's like a sport. I think in the next few years we're just going to be seeing just record-breaking numbers all across the world.
All right, we end the podcast the same way every time with a question from the random question generator. If you had an extra hour a day that had to be allocated to one specific purpose, what would you use it for?
Just loving my children. Just
extra parenting time.
Yeah, if I just had the free time. Just because, like, a lot of times right now, especially when I get home after the tournament, my daughter, who's 2 years old right now, Harley, she's sleeping, and she's just everything to me right now. Every day seeing her grow up and just do new things, I just love the time with her.
Yeah, I guess that's the one benefit of busting early.
Yeah, exactly. No, honestly, if I bust before, I'm actually happy I get a few hours to go hang out with her before bed.
Jesse, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
That's it. That is the show. Thank you once again to Jesse for taking the time. You can find him on X/Twitter at Jesse Lonis. And while you're there, you can also find us at Card Player Media. Until next time, thanks for listening.